Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be sharing with you how to make this halter neck dress with an asymmetric gathers. So if this is something you like, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and if you haven't yet seen the drafting tutorial, please go down to my YouTube channel, or I'm also going to leave the link at the description box. So without much wasting time, let's dive right into today's video. So here is my pattern and I've placed it on my fabric, so I'm going to go ahead to cut this out. So before cutting out for the back pattern, I don't want to sew a dart on it, and I'll just go ahead to blend in the dart, and I'll trace out the remaining part of the fabric that I need. So after that, I'll just go ahead and I'll add ½ inch all the way at the lower part, at the side, and at the upper part. After cutting that, I'll go ahead to cut out this pattern, and I'll also go ahead to add ½ inch by the front side on top at the lower side. Do not add ½ inch by the side. So for the back, I just added ½ inch at the lower part. So I also went ahead to add ½ inch at the upper part of the neckline of this dress and at the shoulder. So after this, I'll use this pattern to cut out my lining. So after cutting it out, this is what I have. So now I'll be ironing a soft stay on the lining piece, because I'm making this dress like an already made dress and I don't want to go ahead to pad it. Another way to do this is to iron a stay to your lining, and you can also iron a stay to your fabric also. So I'm just going to go ahead to iron this on the lining piece, and I'll be doing it right inside. So, and for the side also, I'll repeat the same process. I'll also go ahead and iron this soft stay on it. So after that, I'm going to go ahead to place and join with ½ inch. So after I'm done joining, I'll also go ahead to join the other side of the dress with ½ inch. So now for the yoke, I'm also going to place it and pin it down. I'll be adding ½ inch all the way around and on the neckline and at the shoulder part. So I'll be using this to cut out another piece also. So instead of using my lining, I'll use the same fabric. This is because I don't want my lining to be showing on top of the neckline of my dress. So I'll also go ahead and I will cut this out. So now I'll go ahead to open it up this way, and I'll take this other one, place on it, and I will be stitching it with ½ inch on the neckline and on the sides. So after I'm done stitching, this is what I have. I'll just go ahead to notch it and cut out the excess if I have on the neckline and the rest of the pattern. Then I'll go ahead to turn it to the right side, and after that I'll go ahead to iron it out. So after this, I'm done ironing. I'll go ahead to fold this over and I'll place this on it and I'll pin it down. So after pinning it down, you'll be introducing the lining of the dress, which I've already joined when I was joining the main fabric. So now I'll also notch the lining, then take the notched part. With that part, I pinned the neckline of the dress together, and I'll pin the rest of the lining and the main fabric together. So after I'm done pinning the whole dress, I'll be stitching it with ½ inch. So I'll go ahead and stitch with ½ inch all the way around. You can also push back your sewing allowance to the lining and top stitch, but I'll be notching mine. So after I'm done stitching, this is what I have. So now we move over to the back pattern. Remember, I pinned out my dart. You can also sew your dart or pin it out just the way I did. So here is my fabric, and I've gone ahead to also cut the lining also. But before turning it with my lining, I'm also going to make use of my soft gum stay, or you can make use of your stay. I'll iron it on the lining piece, sew the neckline and the zipper area with the side with ½ inch, and then I will notch it and turn it to the right side. So after that, I'll go ahead to cut the lower part of my pattern. So here is the part before the gathers. And remember, when I was cutting this part, I said you can cut out the dart and merge it together, or you can just merge it up. So I went ahead to slash the dart a bit and I'll place it on my fabric. So to cut out, I'll use it first to cut out the back pattern. So I'll be leaving about 1.5 inches in front. So for the back pattern, because we have a zipper at the back, I'll go down by 2 inches more. So now if you have a big butt, please go down by 3 inches or 4 inches to make sure that your zip will go down a bit more. If not, the dress will not, you will not be able to fit the dress. And if you increased it with more than 2 inches at this pointy part, you can add like extra 1 inch to it. So after this, I'll just go ahead to cut this open. So just like I said, please add extra 2 inches to this part. This comes in handy when you're attaching zipper to the back of the dress. If not, if your zipper is hanging on top, it won't be able to pass your hip line. And someone with a bigger butt, please just go ahead to increase it by 3 or 4 inches. So after I'm done cutting out, I'll just go ahead and make little adjustments at this part. So now remember, we took out a dart at the back of the dress to remove the excess bulginess that we have. You're also going to mark that ½ inch and slant it, and you will cut it out. And this is to enable your zipper area lay flat. So I'll just notch this to indicate that that is my zipper side, because the side and the zipper side of this pattern is looking similar. And after this, I'll be cutting out a lining for it. To cut your lining, all you have to do is to place and you're going to trace it. So I'll use my lining to turn it with ½ inch later. So here is the front pattern and I'm just cutting it out. All I'm just doing here is, for this part, you're going to cut it on fold and you just add ½ inch around it. You're not going to increase any side because there's no zipper in front of the dress. And I'll just go ahead to cut out. So after cutting out, I'll unpin this. I'll go ahead to cut out lining for this part. So here is the lining that I have cut out. I'll place it this way. I'll just stitch the sides only with ½ inch. So here I'll also repeat the same thing at both sides, and I'm going to attach this to the lower part of my dress. So I'm just going to place it this way, notch the center, and also notch the center of the upper part of this dress, and I'm going to be joining it with ½ inch. So if you have any excess, please go ahead to cut it out. If not, the waistline of the upper part will be a bit longer. So after that, I'm just going to pin the center and I will sew with ½ inch, joining both sides. So after that, I will also top stitch the lower part so that it will be easier for me to join the gathers. So after I'm done joining, this is what I have. So here, this is the back pattern after I'm done joining it. Also for the lower parts, if you notice I top stitched it, I'll just go ahead and join it with ½ inch. So after I'm done joining it, this is what I have. And it's time to join the two shoulders. So I was supposed to join the shoulder before joining the lower part of the back. So what I'm going to do now is to wrap one side of the neckline with the other side, stitch with ½ inch. Then I will be tucking it into the back pattern. So this is why I said I'm supposed to join the neckline of the back and the front before joining the lower part of the back, because I went ahead to still open it up again. Now I'll just go ahead and cut here open. That is the joining of the lower part of the back and the upper part of the back. I'll now tuck it in and I'll stitch with ½ inch at the upper part. And after stitching with ½ inch at the shoulder, I'll stitch up the armhole also, and after that I'll just go ahead to notch it. So if you're wondering where I'll be pulling this out from, remember we thought the lower parts open, so I will just go ahead to open it from that side. So I was supposed to just join the shoulder of the front and the back before going ahead to attach the lower part of the back, but I forgot and I attached my dress. So you can go ahead to do your joining this way, or you can just join the front and the back first before joining the lower part of the dress. So this is what I have, and I'll also go ahead to repeat this for the other side. So here that we tore out, I'm just going to go ahead and stitch it down with 1/2 inch on the sewing machine back, and I'll also join the other side of my back. So here is the back pattern. I'll go ahead to place this, and I'll stitch with just 1 inch at the lower part of the back, and I'll also go ahead to attach a zip at the back. So after that, I'll go ahead to pin down my dress, and it's time to shape the dress. So now I'll go ahead and place my tape, and I'll mark my shoulder to bust, shoulder to under bust, and the next line, which is my waistline, and I'll use where the pattern ends, the end of the fabric as my hip point. So to shape, I'll measure what I have at the middle, which is 6.5. So my bust circumference is 33 divided by 2, I have 16.5. So that's 16.5. If I take out 6.5 inches from it, I have 10 inches. So I'll be marking 5 inches on both sides. So this is a method of shaping a bustier. That is, if you want the nipple to nipple line to be at the center of the dress. So now moving to the under bust, I'll measure what I have here, which is 5.5 inches, and my under bust circumference is 28. 28 divided by 2, I have 14. So taking 5.5 from that 14, what I have is 9.5. So that 9.5 inches, I'll share it into 2. Sharing it into 2, I have roughly 4.7 inches, but I'll be marking 4.5 inches on both sides. I'll go ahead and mark. So what I have on my under bust is the same thing as what I have on my waistline, so I'll use the same measurement. So if you don't understand this, please also leave the question at the comment section. So after marking this, so at the lower part of this dress, remember when we were cutting out, we went up after our hip line by 3 or 4 inches. So what you have there won't be exactly your hip point, it will be slightly your hip measurement. So after measuring mine is 19 inches, and because the hip point did not start 3 or 4 inches above, what I will do is I will slant 1/2 inch down to the lower part from my waistline and repeat it at the other side, and I will go ahead and shape. After I'm done shaping, this is what I have. So now we're going to work on the lower part. So remember when we are cutting this out, we got the measurement, and the measurement was from our shoulder to waist is 17 inches, and we added extra 3 inches to it, making it 20, and the full length of this dress is 35 minus that 20 inches, that's how we have 15 inches, and the total length or the yards that I used is 4 yards for the lower part of the dress. That is 15 inches by 4 yards. I had to cut my fabric and join. So for this part, you also add 1 inch for your sewing allowance, making it 16 inches, and 1/2 inch for joining allowance, making it 16.5 inches. So I'll go ahead to join. So to join, I will leave 1/2 inch immediately after the zipper line, and I'll be pleating this tiny round my dress. So if you don't want to pleat it, you can go ahead to use a gather stitch, but looking at what I have on the thumbnail, it looks like it was pleated very small round the lower part of the dress. So I'll be doing that. I'll just go ahead, pleats and sew, pleats and sew. I'll just go ahead, continue doing that till I pleat round my dress. So while pleating, you're going to leave about 1 inch before the zipper line, like immediately after the zipper line, leave 1 inch. You'll be using it to close up the dress. So after pleating it, this is what I have. So now I'm just going to go ahead to turn it to the wrong side, and that 1 inch that I left, it stands for the zipper allowance for that gathered area, and I will stitch it down. After stitching it down, you will notice that it will close up this way, and I'll just go ahead to iron it out. So you can go ahead to fold it, but I'm going to trim the lower part of the dress because some part is slightly longer than the other part. So I'm just going to arrange it on this table, and I'll just go ahead to trim off that part that is a bit longer this way, and then trim the other side. After that, I'll just go ahead to fold the lower part of this dress with 1/2 inch. So after I'm done folding it, this is the final result of the dress. So if you find this tutorial very interesting and educative, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and also join us in our next video. Thanks.